Let's be honest about what is actually sitting in your driveway. It's not just a truck anymore. It is a mobile data center wrapped in sheet metal. A modern pickup runs on 150 million lines of code. That is 7 times more software than a Boeing 787 Dreamliner. It relies on 3,000 microchips that you cannot see, cannot fix, and definitely cannot control. You have traded mechanical independence for digital convenience. We used to fix problems with a socket set. Now, a repair requires a server handshake and a subscription fee. And here is the cold engineering reality. Complexity is the enemy of survival. It doesn't take a flood to kill this system anymore. It takes one cyber attack on the manufacturer to lock out your ignition. One solar flare to scramble the logic gates. One electromagnetic pulse to brick the control modules permanently. When that invisible tether to the grid snaps, your horsepower becomes irrelevant. You aren't a driver anymore. You are a passenger in a 5,000-pound paperweight. Today, we're going to talk about how to keep moving when the code stops running. We are analyzing the physics of why your $60,000 tactical rig is actually a high-speed liability waiting for the right disaster. We will cover the exact mechanical specifications that separate survival assets from heavy scrap metal. The critical stockpile items that keep a vehicle running when the global supply chain hits zero. The fuel chemistry science that creates an expiration date on your gas tank. And the mitigation strategies for the vehicle you actually own, because you go to war with what you have, not what you wish you had. This isn't about Mad Max fantasies. This is about cold engineering realities and chemical facts. By the end, you'll know exactly what keeps turning when the world stops. Now, let's address the elephant in your driveway. That brand new pickup with the heated seats and the cloud-connected navigation? It is not a survival vehicle. It is a network-dependent computer that happens to have wheels. With up to 100 electronic control units required just to start the engine, it is a 5,000-pound static display waiting to happen. And here's the data that proves it. VicOne's 2025 Automotive Cybersecurity Report. 530 vulnerabilities in 2024. Double what they found in 2019. 77% in onboard systems, engine control, infotainment, charging infrastructure. June 2024, CDK global ransomware attack paralyzed 15,000 dealerships for 2 weeks. Cost over $1 billion. But here's why this matters for collapse scenarios. One of the leading theories about hybrid warfare involves launching viruses that spread through entire infrastructure networks, including vehicles. Modern cars have Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, cellular modems, internet-connected alarm systems. Cool, technological, fragile. The attack vector remotely blocks critical control modules. Then the grid gets hit hard. Recovery becomes impossible because you can't diagnose or repair systems that were remotely bricked before the lights went out. Your $30,000 investment becomes someone's remote-controlled paperweight before it becomes a permanent driveway decoration. But let's talk electromagnetic pulse, because that's the threat nobody wants to acknowledge. The 2004 EMP Commission tested vehicles under pulse conditions. 15% of running vehicles shut down when exposed to 25 kilovolts per meter or higher. Not all vehicles, not every time, but enough to turn highways into parking lots. The problem isn't the engine, it's every computer wrapped around that engine. Fuel injection, ignition control, transmission, anti-lock brakes. Every system is a potential failure point. Vehicle chassis act as Faraday cages, natural electromagnetic shielding. Most electronics inside are protected. Most, not all. Different vehicles respond differently to the same pulse. Some lose turn signals, nuisance failures. Others lose engine control, fatal failures. The difference is how manufacturers positioned and wired electronics inside that metal cage. And they're not publishing EMP resistance data. And here's what makes this worse. Technology is developing fast. really fast. Vercators, virtual cathode oscillators, electromagnetic bombs. Sounds like science fiction. It's not. First portable E-bomb test happened in 2009. Peak power output? 10 billion watts. Effective range of several hundred meters. These devices use explosively pumped flux compression generators to create focused electromagnetic pulses that fry electronics without damaging buildings or people. Multiple countries are actively developing this technology: Russia, China, US allies. Who knows what potential adversaries have stockpiled for use against major cities or military installations? The technology is mature, the weapons are real, and your vehicle's electronics weren't designed to survive them. Electric vehicles present a different problem. Tesla batteries sit in a Faraday cage, solid engineering. But the low-voltage components are plain copper circuit boards in plastic clamshells with zero electromagnetic shielding. Not waterproof, let alone EMP resistant. If plugged in during an electromagnetic event, that charging system becomes the most expensive surge pathway directly into your vehicle's electronics. And without grid power, you're sitting in a 2-ton skateboard with a $17,000 battery that charges from what electricity exactly? Solar panels might work if they survive the pulse and you've got days to wait for a partial charge. Maybe 100 miles best case. Then you're walking. Electric vehicles are amazing machines right up until the infrastructure they absolutely require disappears. Here's the survival math that actually works. If you want truly simple, look at pre-1998 Dodge Rams with the Cummins 6BT 12 valve. Mechanical fuel injection. Bosch P7100 pump. No computer required. Dead battery. Push started on a manual transmission. No electricity needed once it's running. This is the diesel engine that can operate completely independent of electronics. Parts? Every salvage yard in America has Dodge Ram parts from the 90s. These trucks sold hundreds of thousands of units before the electronically controlled 24-valve replaced them in 1998. Other candidates worth knowing. Toyota Land Cruiser 70 series with the 1HD's motor. Atmospheric straight 6 diesel. 4.2 liters. No turbo to brake. Minimal electronics. Still officially produced for UN and Red Cross operations, specifically because they survive in deserts for decades. Mercedes-Benz W23 and W124 with OM6117 engine. Legendary 5-cylinder diesel. Million-kilometer service records are common. These machines run on almost any oil. Used vegetable oil from restaurant fryers works if it's liquid enough to pass through filters. Ford F-Series before 1994 with the 7.3 IDI. Indirect injection predecessor to the Power Stroke. No electronics, slow, noisy, virtually indestructible. Toyota Hilux 4th and 5th generation with L-Series motors, 2L and 3L engines. The truck's top gear couldn't kill even after ocean submersion and building demolition. Simple cast iron construction. Mechanical fuel pump makes them effectively eternal. What to look for when shopping? Mechanical fuel pump only. If thick wire bundles connect to the pump, that's computer control. Manual transmission only. Automatic transmissions from that era are reliable, but solenoid failures in grid-down scenarios prevent push starts. And old mechanical diesels tolerate fuel quality that would destroy modern common rail systems. The problem? Most people already own something computerized. The 1999 to 2003 Ford F-250 with the 7.3-liter Power Stroke uses HEUI injection. Hydraulically actuated, electronically controlled. Requires a working PCM and IDM to function. The LB7 Duramax from 2001 to 2004 runs common rail with electronic fuel injection control. Both are tough engines. Both can hit 500,000 miles. But both die without their computers working. I drive a Chevy from the early 2000s myself. Know every bolt, every sensor, every failure point. Can replace most parts with a basic toolkit in my driveway. That knowledge is worth more than any amount of horsepower when mechanics aren't available. But I'm not pretending it'll run without electronics. But let's say you didn't get the memo. You already own a modern truck loaded with computers, and you're not in a position to replace it. What do? You hedge. You keep spare electronic control modules in Faraday containers. Small ammo cans lined with aluminum foil work. Not perfect, but better than nothing. You keep spare sensors, spare fuel pumps, spare injectors. Every single point of electronic failure gets a backup stored in electromagnetic shielding. And here's the catch nobody talks about. Starting in 1998, most vehicles have immobilizer systems. Ford calls it PATs. GM has VATs and passkey. The computer won't let the engine run unless it recognizes the transponder chip in your key. Just buying a spare PCM and throwing it in a can doesn't work. That module needs to be programmed to your specific key before it'll let the engine start, which means you need programming equipment or a trip to the dealer before the collapse happens, not after. Will this save you from a direct nuclear EMP overhead? Probably not. But it'll give you better odds than the 99% who think their vehicle warranty covers acts of war. Now let's talk about the liquid death in your fuel tank. Modern gasoline lasts 6 months. Maybe. Modern diesel lasts 6 to 12 months under proper storage conditions. Cool, dark, sealed. Without those conditions, you're looking at 3 months before your fuel starts turning into expensive varnish that clogs every orifice in your fuel system. The chemistry is brutal. Oxidation creates acids, gums, sediment. Water contamination accelerates breakdown through hydrolysis. Every fuel tank builds condensation. That water settles at the bottom, creates perfect conditions for microbial growth. Bacteria and fungi that eat your fuel and produce acidic waste that corrodes your tank from the inside. Ultra-low sulfur diesel, mandatory since EPA regulations, degrades even faster. Removed 97% of the sulfur to save the environment, made the fuel less stable. Higher storage temperatures accelerate degradation. Hot garage storage? You're cutting fuel lifespan significantly. The solution? Fuel stabilizers, biocides, rotation, PRID for diesel, PRIG for gasoline. These extend storage life to multiple years if you treat the fuel every 6 to 12 months and maintain proper storage, sealed containers, steel or high-density polyethylene. Temperature controlled. I've got a detailed video on my channel about fuel storage. How much? Where? Specific products. Check it out if you're serious about long-term fuel stockpiling. For now, know this. A typical diesel truck burns 2 to 3 gallons per hour under load. 30 days of operation at 3 hours per day. 270 gallons minimum. Double it for safety. 540 gallons. That's about $1,500 at current prices. And fuel is one of the first resources to vanish in collapse scenarios. So far, we've covered why modern vehicles are electromagnetic disaster zones and why fuel has an expiration date shorter than milk. Now let's talk alternative fuel that worked when petroleum vanished. Wood gasification. World War II. Petroleum scarce. Germany had 500,000 vehicles running on wood gas by war's end. France had 65,000. Sweden 73,000. Buses, trucks, tractors, moving people and cargo on wood chunks. This wasn't experimental, this was industrial-scale survival fuel. The process? Heat wood in oxygen-limited environment at 1400 degrees Celsius. Incomplete combustion produces gas mixture, carbon monoxide, hydrogen, nitrogen, trace methane, coolant, filter tar and particulates, feed to engine, vehicle runs. The FEMA emergency gasifier design from 1989 was created for rapid assembly during fuel crises. Auburn University testing showed the Keith gasifier achieved 37% better efficiency than gasoline, set a world speed record for biomass-powered vehicles. But reality check. Gasifiers are bulky, hundreds of pounds. Take up trunk or bed space. Range drops to about 1 mile per pound of wood. Typical installation holds 75 pounds. That's 75 miles versus 500 on diesel. Power loss of 20 to 30%. Acceleration suffers. Top speed drops. Startup requires 15 to 20 minutes to reach temperature. Not exactly quick getaway material. Fuel requirements matter. Hardwood, dried for months, specific chunk size. Too small clogs the system. Too large won't combust properly. Can't just grab random branches. And there's carbon monoxide risk. The fuel gas itself is poisonous. Handle wrong, operate in enclosed spaces, you're looking at odorless, deadly poisoning. Germany required special licenses for gasifier vehicles. That tells you something about the hazard level. Despite limitations, wood gasification offers what nothing else does: independence from petroleum supply chains. When gas stations are dry or hostile, wood becomes fuel. If you live anywhere with trees, you have energy. Europeans kept moving during World War II petroleum rationing, not because gasifiers were fun. They moved because the alternative was staying put. If you want to keep your family mobile when the system fails, subscribe. I analyze engineering realities others ignore. Now let's talk maintenance that keeps any vehicle operational when mechanics disappear. Now let's talk about the maintenance reality that keeps vehicles running when mechanics are scarce and parts are expensive. Regular fluid checks. Every week if you're using your vehicle for survival transport. Engine oil, transmission fluid, brake fluid, coolant, power steering fluid. These aren't optional inspections. These are mandatory if you want to catch small problems before they become mobility-ending failures. Low oil doesn't just risk engine damage, it guarantees it. And replacing an engine when part supply chains are broken is effectively impossible. Tire pressure. Keep it optimal. Underinflated tires wear faster and reduce fuel economy. Overinflated tires reduce traction and increase blowout risk. Get a quality air compressor. 12-volt models that run off your vehicle's electrical system work. Keep spare tires, not one spare, multiple spares. And here's the thing most people miss: rotate your tires before they wear out completely. Take them off when they're still legal. Store them. You now have a stockpile of usable tires for when new ones aren't available. Battery maintenance. Batteries fail when vehicles sit unused. The first thing to die when your truck hasn't moved in weeks. Keep jumper cables. Better yet, keep a jump starter battery pack that doesn't require another vehicle. Solar-powered trickle chargers maintain battery charge during long-term storage. But here's what preppers miss: spare batteries, multiple spare batteries. Not just for jump starting, for replacement when your alternator dies, for barter when someone else needs one, for running auxiliary systems independent of your vehicle. I keep 2 in my garage, one smaller for cars, one larger for my truck. Always clean, serviced, charged, ready to swap when the current battery fails or when I need portable 12-volt power for something else entirely. Batteries are one of the first things to fail in neglected vehicles, and one of the hardest things to replace when supply chains break. Having spares isn't excessive, it's acknowledging reality. And Learn Push starts on manual transmission vehicles. That's your backup when electrical systems fail completely. Defensive driving training. Not optional. Not a nice to have. Mandatory. Learn vehicle control in adverse conditions. Ice. Oil slicks. Gravel. Mud. Learn how to look ahead for hazards instead of just reacting to immediate threats. Learn how to brake properly in emergencies without locking up and losing steering control. These skills keep your vehicle undamaged. Undamaged vehicles keep running. Damaged vehicles become parts donors for someone else. Here's the upgrade strategy that actually makes sense. High temperature brake pads. You stop faster when you need to stop fast. Grill guards. Not for aesthetics, for function. Push disabled vehicles out of your way. Break through obstacles without destroying your radiator and engine. Larger tires for improved ground clearance. Lift kits if you're serious about off-road capability, but do it intelligently. Every modification that increases complexity increases potential failure points. Keep it simple. Keep it functional. Avoid anything that requires specialized tools or rare parts to maintain. Communication systems, CB radios, ham radios if you have the license and knowledge, vehicle-to-vehicle communication when cell towers are dead, coordination during movement, warning about hazards and threats. This isn't prepper cosplay. This is basic tactical communication that military and commercial transport have used for decades because it works. The rescue kit, tow ropes, shackles, a winch if you can afford and install one properly, spare belts, spare hoses, basic hand tools, socket sets, wrenches, screwdrivers. Anything you might need to perform roadside repairs when tow trucks aren't coming. A 12-volt air compressor, tire repair kits. Duct tape, zip ties, wire. The goal is self-sufficiency. If you can't fix it yourself or limp it to safety, you're walking. And keep a bug-out kit in your vehicle. 72 hours of food, water, shelter, and fire-starting supplies. Because vehicle failures happen, accidents happen, getting stranded happens. The difference between temporary inconvenience and life-threatening emergency is whether you have supplies to survive while you figure out your next move. Bottom line, your vehicle's survival depends on 3 things. Simplicity. Old diesel trucks with minimal electronics beat modern computerized systems when supply chains break. Fuel preparation. Stabilized diesel or gasoline stored properly lasts years instead of months. Maintenance discipline. Regular checks and stockpiled parts prevent small failures from becoming catastrophic ones. Modern vehicles are amazing machines right up until the systems they depend on disappear. Then they're expensive statuary. The vehicles that keep running are the ones designed with mechanical honesty instead of computer complexity. I'm not a mechanic. I'm not your personal consultant. For specific guidance on vehicle preparation, fuel storage regulations, and emergency protocols in your area, consult with certified mechanics, local emergency management agencies, and state departments of motor vehicles. They have current information on legal requirements and safety standards that apply to your specific circumstances and location. This information is educational, not a substitute for professional advice. Take care of your vehicle. Take care of your fuel. Take care of yourself and your family. Stay safe out there.